So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have the Unlock Gaming Soundbar. Now this guy does run by Bluetooth. Just so you know, it is a product from Five Below. It's been a little while since I did a Five Below product. If you flip it over, you do have physical buttons on the back, volume control, color changing lights. It claims to be high quality sound. We'll test that together to see if that's actually true. You do have an on and off switch for the play button. Now in terms of battery life, it doesn't look like it necessarily says it. Oh, here we go. Charging time is about 1.5 hours. Playtime an hour, depending on if the colors are on and off. That is not a very long playtime at all. And to be honest with you, that kind of makes me skeptical about the rest of the product if the playtime is strictly an hour. That's really low. But anyway, with that being said, timestamps, if you look at the description, timestamps will be there for people that want to skip to the part that they want to see. Without further ado, let's get right into this review. Now, there was another Bass Jacks product that I wanted to review at first, but I happened to see this at my local Five Below, downtown Center City, Philadelphia, for you guys that are wondering where I got it, the 8th and Market location, right? And when I saw this one, Unlocked makes a lot of gaming supplies, or at least what they have inside the stores at Five Below. And I figured, you know what, let's get something that looks aesthetically pleasing and might sound good. So far we have the micro USB. It does use the micro USB charger that you see right here. Hold on, let me get this out of view. I am using a OnePlus camera, so that's why that OnePlus N30 is not as sharp as my other cameras. So this guy right here is micro USB. It's a pretty short cord. So if you have one already at home, you'll be good to go with that. We do have the instructions right here, which we're about to take a look in a second. So let's bear that in mind. And here's the headset itself. Take this out of the plastic. If it doesn't come inside this when you first purchase it, it probably means that someone returned it and they decided to put it back on the shelves, like they may have not liked it. I don't know how they return things and use other things, but it is what it is. Is this cosmetic damage to this? You can't really see it. It's like a little slight damage right here. It looks like the box fell, but I'm not really concerned about that. So far, the speaker feels pretty solid. Normally, when you have Five Below speakers, you can squeeze them and it feels like it's going to snap, but this one does feel pretty solid, though it does make a couple creaking noises when you squeeze it hard. Obviously, you're not supposed to do that, but for video purposes, to show you how sturdy it is, that's why I'm doing that. On the back, you have the 5 volt, the DC 5 volt. Now, you can plug this up to something that's stronger than 5 volts, but just be aware of the fact that 5 volts, I think, is the maximum amount of wattage that this can receive. And please be careful. Don't hook this up to a 25 volt and a 15 volt and all that. Try to stick between 5 to 10 for the longevity of the product. Again, cheap products tend to have no safeties when it comes to overheating. So just bear that in mind. You have your power button, which is it the power button? I don't know what this is. I thought this was the power button. Nope, actually it's up here. Power button's up here. So I'm going to assume that this is plus and minus, which is volume up and down, and you could probably hold it to change the songs. We're going to take a look at that in a second. And I will also assume that the play button doubles down as the power button. Let's check that right now. Yep, so if you hold the play button, it will power on the headset, and it looks like the lights actually change. I'm not too sure if you could change it yourself manually, but let's actually check that right now and read the instructions. For someone that might have bought this product, it was given to them, they don't know how to use it. So it says package contents, tell you what it comes with. Here we go, power on, hold the button. Pretty simplistic. If you long press, that decreases the volume, up and down for the volume. If you press it once, it looks like, what did it change the song? Yep, so a short press changes the song, it makes the song go backwards. Long press, which long press means you hold down the volume down or hold down volume up. That will actually change the volume of the song. But if you press it once, it'll change the song itself. Now, keep in mind that depending on what kind of music player or device you're using, that function may or may not work. So don't think that the product is effective. But if you're using an iPhone or if you're using, I don't know, an Android device, and I use applications like Mort Player. I used to use that back in the day. But right now I'm using Power Amp. It might respond to the actual button sequence based on the Bluetooth. So keep that in mind. But outside of that, it's not much more to it than this. It tells you how to wirelessly pair it, which it gives you that 32-foot range. I mean, this is pretty bare bones generic. You don't really need much for this, if we're being honest here. No voice or distortion of sound, playing break. Okay, I'm not worried about them. Toss it to the side. But this is how the speaker looks so far. I like the way it looks. You have these little soft felt tips or whatever this is to make sure that it stays in place and doesn't scratch any of your surfaces. Because remember, a lot of people use speakers on marble desks, glass desks, things like that are aesthetically pleasing, and you want to make sure that these don't damage anything that you own. So with that being said, very simplistic to use. I mean, it's a cool looking speaker. I like the way it looks. It doesn't look super cheap. Like normally when you go to buy Five Below stuff, it looks cheap, but this actually looks like a decent speaker that would probably normally cost you probably $15 to $20 if you were at a FYE or something like that. Now with that being said, let's go over to the next section, which is going to be how to sync this product. So for the people that did skip the introduction and went over to the sync section, right here you have the play button. This doubles down as a power button if you hold it. So we're going to do that now. All right, so the speaker is currently on. I'm going to give it a couple seconds, allow it to go into sync mode, and then I'm going to show you how to sync it. Very simplistic. So we're going to swipe up and go to the settings. Right here, it's going to say Bluetooth. I'm going to press pair. Again, depending on the device that you use, is going to look a little bit different for everybody else. If you're using a Samsung device, a OnePlus device, I'm about to say a Windows phone, but they don't exist anymore. GA0071. That's definitely not it, because that looks like a headset rather than an actual speaker. I'm curious. Let me check the instructions to see if this puts in pair mode. This is why I like doing this, because a lot of times the average person, because I'm the average person, is going to turn this product on, use it, and not know how to sync it. So what is the name of this Bluetooth? Oh, so that is what it is. GA0071. That is an odd name for a Bluetooth, but it did pop up. So the sync mode did work. I'm going to allow it to use my contacts. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. For people that are wondering what that does, sometimes it's an invasion of privacy depending on the application. But in this case, some speakers do allow you to be able to make phone calls through the speaker, and it sometimes can read back contacts or different things like that. So you can allow it. I normally do for obvious reasons, because I use many headsets door reviews, but that is the quick and easy sync process. So again, this product is going to be called the GA0071. It is currently connected to this. Now with that being said, let's go over to the next section, which is the most important section. How does it sound quality wise? Now, disclosure. There are no equalizers or anything on this tablet. I use it as is. As a matter of fact, we're going to go to the file manager, and I'm going to play some music from there. Let me pull up the file manager real fast. Let's see. Oh man, it's normally on the main screen. There we go. File manager. We're going to go to audio. All right, here's the audio. I'm going to play something over in YouTube friendly music. There is, for anyone that ever tried the YouTube or has a YouTube account, you can download YouTube Studio, or just go into your web and look at it that way. And there's a section that shows you free music. I believe it still does that to this day. I haven't used the free music in YouTube for a while, but I did download some of it from the actual website so that I can review it with you guys. Hopefully it's here. It should say YouTube free music. You know what? Oh, there we go. YouTube music is up here. So the first thing we're going to do is Warzone. Just music. The second one is going to be audio, so you can see how clear it actually sounds. Let's get into it. Okay, so it's actually very loud, and it's not. And I had to turn it down. Let's wait for the bass to drop. A little lackluster. I'll explain why in a second. I'll turn it up. Okay, it definitely has volume. I'll give it that. It has a lot of volume. And it sounds better when you turn it up. Just so you guys know, I did do a sample review offline without recording it, so I do have a better idea of how it sounds. Okay, so it's not bad. So that's the first sample. So let me just give you a quick critique about that. What I noticed is that the louder it is, the clearer the speaker sounds. That's normally in reverse. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe that's something that Unlock did. Maybe it's the way the speaker is set up behind all this, I'm about to call it chrome, behind all of this plastic, and you can't really hear the speakers that well. Or it's a possibility that the speakers just aren't that good to begin with. Now, it's not horrible or anything, But from a lot of other products that I've done on the channel, like bass jacks so far, some of those products sound substantially better than this one. It sounds a little muffled. You may not be able to hear that because you're listening to this through a YouTube video. But for me, it just was really lackluster. Like the volume wasn't low. It just sounded like something was kind of covering the speaker. And if that was removed, it would sound a whole lot clearer. You know what I mean? The quality isn't there. I would say for the first listen, well, not first listen, but the first listen on video with you guys, a 5 out of 10, like average. It doesn't do anything bad, but it also doesn't do anything well. The bass is there, kind of. You can feel the rumble from the bass, but you can definitely tell that it's the speaker struggling to produce the bass in the first place. So the next one we're going to play is Ice and Fire, and I'll continue with the critique after this. Like, it sounds good, but you could definitely tell that the quality is a little lacking. Like, I don't have any issues with breakages or anything like that, but it's not bad. Like, it depends on the song you're listening to, but you notice it more when instruments play in the song and more play at the same time, that you realize, oh, okay, it's not as good as I thought it was. I mean, the voice sounds good. It sounds very clear, but see, clarity is okay. It sounds good. It sounds good. All right. I said that enough. Too many times. Let me explain myself a little bit better because I'm all over the place. When you normally listen to a song, again, I'm not a professional music maker. I just do beats and stuff on FL Studio for fun. But I did learn how to mix in different things from YouTube and other people that I know that were DJs. What I noticed is that older songs from back in the day, the 90s, 2000s, they weren't, even though the beats were fire, they weren't mixed a certain way. I'm assuming the technology wasn't there to give the clarity of sound. So you'll have certain artists today that do things in synths and all types of instruments where it can sound too clean, like perfect production. A lot of speakers normally have perfect production value where it sounds exactly the way the artist intended. While cheaper speakers like this one, even though the volume is there, I don't have any issue with the instruments, the quality, there's no breakages. It sounds fine. But when you really put it closer to your face and you just listen to the vocals in the background, you notice that it's like a grainy, not a grain effect, but it's like a grain over everything. Like everything is just, I don't know, it's like if you just crumble paper kind of. You know that, or you just fan paper in front of a fan. It's like an extra echo noise that should not be there because the quality of the speakers aren't up to par. It's like they did a good job of balancing everything. There we go. They balanced everything just fine, but the problem is they're using an inferior product in terms of speaker. That's what I mean to say. So they did everything they could with this to sound good, and it does sound pretty good, but if I was to compare it to another Bass Jacks product that I did over the channel probably within the last 2 months, it doesn't outpower it in terms of quality, right? But the volume on this is actually very, very good. It's very, very loud. I can confidently say that if you're in a room with multiple people, the speaker won't drown out. Like you can still hear everything that's going on. And for some people, that's going to be more important. And I like that. That's a cool feature. So with that being said, the music doesn't sound bad. The music quality doesn't really suffer, but it does sound like because they're not using the highest quality or average quality speakers, it feels like the speakers itself are lacking and that the way they calibrated the speaker sounds better than what this actually offers. It's like if they would have did this to any other speaker for another company, it would sound phenomenal. That's what I mean. But anywho, it was a little hard to explain it. It's been a while since I did a speaker review, but I'm going to go ahead and go to the last section, and that's, is this actually worth the asking price? So guys, to answer the question if this is worth the asking price, for you guys out there, let me give you a quick review. This speaker has about an hour of battery life. I did test it. With lights on, it doesn't last that long. I don't know if keeping it plugged in is safe to do for these type of speakers. They can overheat over time if you keep anything plugged in for too long. Even the best quality stuff, you can burn out that product. So you should not keep it plugged in at all times. What I will say about it is the sounds pretty good. It's average. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. This is a 5 below product, so understand that that rating is really high when I compare it to so many other speakers that I reviewed outside of just 5 below and unlocked in Bass Jacks. I don't put Bass Jacks on a separate pedestal. I compare it to other speakers, so that rating is just to say that it's average, it's not bad. you won't have an issue with it. It doesn't have crazy bass or anything. It has bass, but not enough to say I would use this as a primary speaker when you can go to Ross and get the Go Boom 3 for $24.99, and you can get the Go Boom 2 for $19.99, and those speakers have substantially better battery life. They look better, they feel better, better quality, IP rating, all that stuff. Understand that you can still get something that's high quality, that's reasonably priced from stores like Ross and Burlington if you shop around. But this is Five Below, so let me stick to this. The downside to the speaker is that, like I said earlier in the music section, for anyone that skipped that part, it sounds a tad bit muffled when you listen to it over time. Like if you podcast, the person's voice sounds like they're using a low quality speaker. If you're listening to music, beats, things like that have death metal, whatever, anime music, doesn't matter. You can tell that they didn't use the highest quality speaker of this category. Like in this price range, Bass Jacks has better speakers than this, just being completely honest with you. But in terms of volume and consistency, like Bluetooth, it didn't disconnect. I didn't have any issues. There was no skipping. I like the way it sounds. It's simplistic with the buttons. You can't get it wrong, right? Even if without the instructions, you'll know how to use this without a problem. The downside is the hour battery life. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Like normally it's about 1.5 to 2 hours. 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on how long you listen to it. This guy is boasting an hour battery life, and that depends on the physical lights, which I didn't see anything right here that says that you could turn the lights off. Let me just open it up and take a look again, because I don't want to get any information wrong. But if I look at this, is there anything to turn the lights off? Oh, you can. The light. Double short. What? So if I tap it, okay. That's what it means. So if you double tap this button, the lights will come on, the lights will come off. So if the lights are off, I didn't try the battery life with the lights off, but with the lights on, you get about an hour. So I'm assuming you get that 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours with it off. Okay, cool. That does make a difference. Still, I wish the battery life was about 3 to 4 hours or so. That would be more ideal, even with the lights on. Again, I might be asking too much because this is a product from Five Below, but it is just wishful thinking. So if you buy this, right, it's completely Bluetooth. There is nothing here that shows that it could be connected to a PC. You would have to use it under Bluetooth. I like stuff like this. This is something that I will put on my desk in front of my computer for aesthetic reasons, just to show, ooh, cool colors, things like that. I may not use it for the average person. I think you would use it. You can connect it to your Nintendo Switch if you want to. You can connect this to your headset, your tablets, things like this, phones. It doesn't matter. You can connect it to all of those things, and you should not have an issue with performance. The Bluetooth works just fine. You get about 32.5 feet, whatever the 32.8. I'm just going to say 32 feet to round it off to the earliest number, not the latest, because technically it would be 33 or rounded it off. But the point is that it doesn't really excel in anything, but it doesn't fail in anything either. It's a decent speaker for the asking price. And I believe the speaker was like $7, I believe. Let me just double check and make sure. No, it was $5.55. So when you compare it to the Bass Jacks and other speakers that I normally review, those are normally $7, $8 to $10, sometimes more, $15. This did very good for $5.55. That's why I say you can't go wrong, because it does have the quality that I expect. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't feel cheap. When you squeeze it, it doesn't feel like it's going to break. If you put it in your book bag and walk around, it's not going to snap in half. They did a good job in terms of overall quality. It's just that muffled speaker is really a killer for me. But at the end of the day, I think you should still get this. Absolutely. I think the packaging is cool. There are other unlocked products that you can pair this with, especially for someone that's trying to start podcasting or gaming channel or whatever it is. You don't have to spend tons of money to get results all the time. Just do things gradually. But anyway, that's the review. That's all I got to say. Like and subscribe like always, guys. And I will see y'all in the next video.